sing, just boopy-doopy-doopy-doop, boop-boopy-doo. Sing, make the day seem bright.
Hello, Betty.
Hello. Sing, so you'll be all right.
Hello, Betty.
Hello. Sing, and with all your might, it's good for ya. Well... Oh, for goodness sake, please stop it. Why don't you buy your own newspaper?
They shove over.
Getting off, please. Oh, am I glad to get out of this bus. The pests. This town is full of pests. That's all there is to it. I never saw anything like it. I started out all right, and here I am coming back again into the dark. The pest. If I were a judge, I'd have something to say, believe me. I wish they'd make me judge for a day, and I'd get a hold of all these pests and give them a lesson and teach them, and that's all. I wish. Oh, I wish I could do something about this situation, that's all. Oh, dear. Something should be done about those pests. If I had my way, I know what I'm gonna do. Oh, this is gonna be swell. I'm gonna like this. Order in the court. Order in the court. If I were judge for a day, I would make those pesky pesters pay and pay. I'd sentence soul-back slackers who get sunburnt on the back, and then have all their friends come up and give them a whack. Horn blowers I'd punish this way, make them listen to a saxophone all day. For paper shoulder readers, I'd pile papers up so high, then let someone turn the pages just to poke them in the eye. Now if I were judge, I'd surely have my way. So public pests are on display. Have a laugh, it's free today.
Wow. Oh.
Hiya, pal. 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 Hiya, pal.
You nasty man! Don't ever do that! You like that? Are you listening? Huh?
The shadow. Ha ha ha.
Look ahead! Arrest those pets and put them on display. If I were judge for a day. Boopy doopy doopy doop, boop boopy doop.
And a one fish, two fish. And I don't think I have the volume on anywhere. Am I talking and not hearing myself? I just might be. I heard the cartoon. Why am I not hearing? And a one fish, two fish. Have I got Twitch muted somehow? Nope. Maybe I can hear YouTube. Nope. Is my volume on? I got the wrong headphones. There we go. Nope. Is my volume on? I got the wrong headphones. There we go. All right, there we go. I can hear myself. Headphones. There we go. All right, there we go. I can hear myself. Try this again. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, everything is shut down. And a one fish, two fish. And a one fish, two fish. And a red fish, blue fish. I think the YouTube's got too much latency. And a red fish, blue fish. There we go. All right. YouTube good. Twitch is good. Disaster averted. We've got sound. I still haven't got the car hop outfit submitted. I just keep, every time I think I'm done, I realize I broke something and have to fix it again. So that's where I am. Hopefully, I was hoping to have this done on Monday. Hopefully, we'll get it submitted tomorrow. Anyhow, I'm going to work on the kimono tonight. Well, kimono. I'm going to call it sunrise robe because it's not. I don't think it's an accurate kimono. So I'm not going to pretend it's an accurate kimono by calling it a kimono. But here, let's see where we left off. Let's switch you to texture shaded view so things move a little smoother. And that is Twitch. Let's watch the Twitch. Is there anybody? It says I got 3 viewers. Alrighty. So we're going to back out of this testing directory and come back down here to this kimono directory. People, Genesis 8. Where did I leave off? I think I got it kind of in the DAS, and I think did I make the materials for this? I think I had finished generating materials for this. Some of the materials. I don't know. Let's go find out. So maybe we'll tweak the rigging a little bit and put map files on. I think Thursday I'm going to try to start a coverall outfit. I'll do coveralls and boots. G9 and Genesis 8 female because I'm not taking Genesis 8 male clothes anymore. It just doesn't work with my workflow. I'm not sure if Genesis 8 female is worth the trouble or not. Thinking about it. So what was I doing? I am looking for the the texture folders for this. Oh, hold on a second.
I'm sorry.
All right, we're back. I'm looking for the textures. Where is this? It's in projects. It's probably in dresses, I think is where I put this. Because there's something that says kimono. Is that from this year? That is not from this year. Actually, let me figure out where are you? Let's just here. We'll do it the easy way. We'll browse to their location. Dresses kimono. It does say. Anyhow, let's go take a look at the runtime. Textures. Me. Sunrise robe. I got my generic textures in here. Yes, I do. Ooh, it looks like I did do. What did I do? Oh, I was making. See, I've always been making such cool colors, and I've already forgotten what they all were. We'll drag that out over there. So I did the displacement maps. Did I do a tattered? I did a tattered opacity, a starter tatter opacity map. You know what? We're going to copy that twice. And we're going to call these, what am I calling my displacement maps? Long, mid, and short. So we need tattered maps. They're going to be tattered, long, opacity. And we'll just get rid of this stuff. Copy. Yo, is that Rod Shelley? Oh no, The Walking Dead. I'm sorry, Rod. This will be the mid. And this will be the short. You know what? I might as well do that now. Go set up these opacity maps for the different lengths. And that must be CS Bond. Hey, Charles, how are you doing? Thanks for watching the premiere today. I keep forgetting to get over there and catch him. I kind of remembered, but I was also busy today. I'll live. You got a lot more mischief to get into. There you go. Rod is not done just yet. Where did that go? I lost an opacity map. There it is. It went over there. I put mid in the wrong spot. Let's move that. Control X. And we'll put that right there. Okay, let's activate Photoshop. So this is the part of the tattered map that we did with Substance last time. And we're going to set it up for the different lengths. So I want a tattered edges. One or more plugins currently is Sunrise Robe IDs. There we go. That's what we're looking for right there. I'm just going to bring, because somewhere in here, I think I've got a UVs. We'll just push this to the top. And then I can just set up the opacities in here. So I'm going to group all of this stuff together. New group from layers. Those are the displacement maps. Oh, hold on a second. It's probably junk, but let me check. All right, sorry about that. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Oops. All right, I'm back. And I accidentally put my email up, but I don't think there was anything really important in there. But I'm still going to delete the VOD. Anyhow, what are we doing? I was doing, we're doing opacity maps for tattering. So we need to do short tatters, mid tatters, and long tatters. So we're going to bring those in. So I'm going to, why is my Outlook still closed? See, this is what happens when you accidentally leave your Outlook open. So let's get those opacity maps in here. We'll do so I'll drop that in. I'm going to drop that in. And I know they all look the same right now. Drop that in. We're going to turn on this. So this tells me where my borders are. So we're going to tatter this edge along. We're going to tatter the edge along the sleeves. And then we're going to do tatters along the very bottoms here for the various lengths. So let me get a brush, a torn fabric brush in here, and we'll set that up. I'm thinking, what am I doing? I'm going to use the brush tool. We're going to use the brush tool. We're going to come over here. We're going to look for, is it in here, or do I have to do it another way? I think I'm going to do it like this. Let's go over to our merchant resources, which is in projects, right? Not that you actually can remember that. There we go, projects. It's one of these Ateneus's, I believe. Somewhere in here. Ripped fabrics, I think, possibly. Let's go take a look. Yep, so I want a long one with kind of a tattered edge. As long as and it would be nice if it's more or less straight. And I probably have, didn't I not touch one up in here? See, that one's a little too regular. That just looks a little frayed as opposed to torn. There it is. This is the one I tend to use. This one right here. So, you know, I'm going to just bring you in here. And what we do is we're just kind of line that up. And I'm just going to use this incessantly. I'm going to clean it up just a little bit. It's got a little bit more phrase on it than I really want. We're going to rasterize that. Somewhere in here says rasterize layers. Actually, I should rasterize all of these. Can I do all of these at once? I can. Yay. All right, I'm going to come back to here. Zoom in. I'm going to just paint these in with black. So it's still frayed, but I don't know. Those are a little too unique. So just take the really wild ones off. And maybe take that one down just a little bit. So that should work. Let's Control T that and just kind of make that so that it's just about the size of this panel here. And then we're just going to kind of line that up like so. And then I'm just going to dupe this layer. And let's go use the move tool. We'll just slide you like that. You need to be a little bit longer. You know what? I'm just going to... Why don't we just size both of these together? Can I do that? I think maybe we'll go with that. I got the wrong one selected there. There we go. Let's push you down. Kind of like in there. All right, let's move to this one. Okay, I need this to cover both of those, so we'll dupe again. Once I dupe this, I can probably just use it for all three. And also we're going to use the same thing on the sleeves. So let's do that. I'm just going to put you kind of in here. We're going to trim this one down. Oh, both of these. We'll bring them down a little bit like that. And I think I want to do a multiply with these. Is that right? Anyhow, let's finish blocking these out. You know what I would probably do is just merge these together. Except for this last one here, I'm going to duplicate this layer. And that's going to get to come up here. We'll just stick that for now. Then I'm going to just merge these all together. And then take this one, and this is going to be for the sleeves. I probably need to make another copy of that and pull it over and then kind of blend them together a little bit. So let's do that. So let's dupe you. Drag you up this way. Maybe something like that. Maybe combine these two. Duplicate those. I'm going to rotate that around. Use that on the other sleeve. All right, now we've got to play around with. I think I'm going to use a multiply blending mode. I think I can go ahead and just for make things easier. Can I merge you two? Can I just do that? Merge layers. There we go. Set that to multiply. So it's going to look kind of like that. So we get that little fringed on the edges. And now I'm going to set. Why are you not moving? Okay, so we're going to set that to multiply. I'm clicking on the wrong thing. I know. And that gives me a fringed edge there. I just kind of, we're going to dupe this. And that's going to line up somewhere in there. And we'll duplicate that again. All right, I do need the that back. So there's our. So that one's going to line up right about there, and that'll give me the tattered short. This one needs to line up right about in there. That's for the tattered mids. Okay, now I just need to add some extra blackness in here for each of these little. So I need in between this and this layer, we need to just add a big black box in there. And I've got my UVs in here so I can see where the belt is. So just going to do that, and I'll just put a new layer in here. And we're just going to fill that in with black. And then I'm going to just dupe that. And that's going to go in between these two layers. And I'm just going to stretch that up to there. And now I've clipped the belt a little bit, so we'll just pull you over a little bit. And I'm going to have to trim some of this to make sure it doesn't overlap the belt. So let's get let's set that. Let's get a mask in here and clean some stuff up. So right through there. I'm just going to make sure I don't have any of these. Should be good. All right, now we're ready. So right now we are looking at the tattered map for the short. There we go. So let's save that as a copy file. Actually, file export as. And export. And I'm in the car hop. So let's go over to, I think this was in dresses. And kimono, runtime, textures, sunrise robe, and this is the short. So we're just going to override the one that says short right there. And we are good. All right, let's hide that and that. And now we're ready for the mid. So export as. And that one there says mid. So we'll save over that. And then we're going to hide this and this. And that is the long tattered. Somewhere down in here, maybe right there where it says long. Okay, let's set up a bunch of material files now. Did I do an opacity? Did I do a cotton opacity for this? I don't know. Let's find out. I'm going to do some weird stuff. You know what? There are no parts to this except for this one item, so I don't have to do any fancy tricks in order to make one file texture a whole bunch of different parts. So we're going to start like this. Let's do this. Let's turn you on. Is this stuff all named right? I hope so. Nothing quite like changing a name after the fact. I'm thinking here for a second. All right, let's make sure. I do have my base. I'm going to apply it anyhow. So we're going to make sure our base shader is applied, which I think it was. And then we're going to just build out. Am I doing cotton and silk? I don't know. Let's take a look. I think I saved cotton and silk maps for this. Oops, what did I hit E? So that says cotton opacity. Oh, I do have a cotton opacity map. Yay. So we do have cotton, and is there silk? And we do have silk. All right. Let's do, what is my first color here? Black. All right, let's do black, and we'll do silk. And then I'll do white, and we'll do that with cotton. And then I'm going to maybe... I'm thinking, I'm trying to be clever. Yeah, okay. I think maybe we'll do finishes, opacities, and then colors. And then we're also going to have a trims too. So I'm trying to organize this. And then, of course, there'll be a hierarchical materials where basically it just applies a kind of style with the trim and patterns. So in order to do, so here, I'm going to do this. I got a special shaders for this. So we're going to do two I don't know, texture surface. So we're going to set up two kind of generic shaders or materials for silk and then one for cotton. So I'm going to apply this special shader just for that. Do I want to give it a generic base color when you put this on? No, we do not want to change the color. We do want to alter the metallicity, so I'm going to crank you up like that. And then we'll do the silk first, and then we'll go back and do the cotton. So I'm going to run down here to silk, and we're looking for like right in here. So here's metallicity for silk. I'm going to drop that right in there. Glossy roughness right there. And we'll take the glossy roughness for the silk, drop that right in there. Then we're going to take, I have a normal map, so we're looking for a normal map for the silk right there. I have a height map for silk, so we'll put that into the bump channel. I need to put my displacement on here. So the opacity for the silk, we don't have an opacity map for that, so it's just going to be opaque. And the cotton's going to have an opacity map, but it's not really that opaque. And then we'll put our displacement map in here. And I'm just going to, and I am looking at you. Oh, I should have dragged and dropped. I'm going to cancel that. We're going to drag and drop because we can. So our generic one's going to be the long one. Oops. There we go. Set that value to 1. Make that 0. Make that 0.15 because that's the way I like it. Make that 6. And so this should be good. So what we're going to do is we're going to, so only those things I just saved or just changed over here, I want to save. That's all I want to save. Except this is silk, so I'm going to make a change to the top coat color. So we're going to adjust the top coat weight to 1. And I'm going to take the top coat roughness, and do I want to just put the silk? You know what? I'm going to call that 1. And I'm just going to use that silk roughness map on that. I'm just going to take a quick test here, see what we're looking at. I don't even know if we're going to be able to see anything, because with it being white like that, yeah, that looks fine. That'll be fine. It looks kind of silky. All right, we're going to save that. Stop that. Say, yeah, yes. Come over here. Materials. Finish. So what I'm going to do is we're going to save as, I'm going to turn off smart content, because this will make things go a lot faster. Okay, back over to the surface tab. All right, here we go. Let's do plus. SR, you are a material preset, so we're going to do SR base silk. Let's do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to check only modified values. So if we take a little look in here, you can see it's just the stuff I changed, except for these simulation settings. So we're also going to get rid of those too. So we're going to uncheck all simulation settings. All right, now we're good. So now we're only changing the opacity and the displacement and all the things that I went in and made changes to. We will add a top coat color later on. So we are good here. So I'm going to accept that. And there we go. All right, now we're going to set this up for cotton. So we're going to reapply my neutral shader, special default, no modifications. There we go. Now we'll set this up for cotton. And I want the cotton to switch the top coat weight back to 0, and by default it isn't, so I got to tweak this parameter just a little bit. I have to tell it actually has a default value. So now it thinks that this value has changed. So when I go to save it, it will save it with a 0 in the top coat weight for the cotton. Okay, so for cotton, also for cotton doesn't have metallicity, so I'm going to do the same trick here. At least I don't think it has metallic. Let's take a look. Let's just double check and make sure I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, look at that. That's black. We don't need that. You never need a black map. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come in here and say that the default value is 0.1. And this way, DAS thinks it's been changed. So this is now a modified value. I'm going to leave that alone. I think I do have a glossy roughness. So we're going to crank that up and come over here and look for the cotton roughness and drop that into the glossy roughness channel. Okay, so I have adjusted the top coat, right? Yep, we adjust the top coat, so that will stick as 0. Cut out opacity. Okay, I did change it. Okay, so we're going to put this. We have a little bit of an opacity for the cotton. Come on. Looks good. Okay, where are there's my bump map and my normal map. Oops. Boy, that normal map just isn't dropping in there, is it? There we go. Okay, I think I'm now good for the cotton. Let's just do a test render on that. So it's going to look kind of like that. Oh, I didn't do the displacement map. All right, let's make sure we have the displacement map on here. Then we're going to save it. That's why you do the test render. To see what you forgot. Displacement map. Is my displacement map still in here? There you are, displacement long. You will be strength of 1. You are 0. 0.15, and you are 6. And now I'm ready to go with this. So we're going to say this is a material preset. SR base cotton. And same thing, check only all modifieds. Uncheck all simulation settings and say okay to that. All right, we got our 2 bases done. Now I'm going to use an opacity map for changing the length. So we're going to kind of do the same thing, except we're only going to change these down here. And I want that value, but I don't want to change the map out. So that's going to get a little tedious, I think. If I say none, that's like a value, right? Anyhow, so we're going to reset that. Cutout opacity is on. I'm going to take a look and see if this will change the map or not. Image none is the default. So if it's got an image in there, will that override it? I don't know. We'll check when we save. This might get a little tedious. And then also we want to make sure my displacement map is on for the long. Okay, and let's try saving that. So this is an opacity. Just for length purposes. I should say long silk long. It'll just be easier that way, right? I think it might be. Yo, Jasmine, how you? Farrell, what's up? Just noticed you went live and the notification only went to, oops, did I forget to hit the server, hit the push again? I guess I did. Boop, there we go. Sometimes that happens. All right, we're doing the thing. We're doing the thing. I'm going to hit save material preset. This is going to be SR opacity silk long. Actually, I'm going to say full long. Or well, you say long full. I'm going to do that. Long full. There we go. Check only all modifieds, and then we'll just make sure we uncheck all the simulation settings. I'm just going to take a peek in here, and we're only changing cutout and displacement. Okay, just now. Hey, thanks. I appreciate the that you like it. Accept that. All right, now we're just going to change. So the long doesn't need a separate map. This needs a new displacement map. So we're going to make the mid. And I need to hide the surfaces on the bottom there. I'm going to take that and that. And there's right that. And then if I change you to 0, yeah, that's still good. There we go. That's the mid. So we're going to save that. As a material preset. So this is going to be mid full. That's a mid full. Check only modified. Uncheck simulation. Accept. All right, let's do the short. Oops. Browse. There's the short displacement map. And then what we're going to do is we're also going to make that go away, and that go away. And that's the short full. Hum. Where am I? I'm right there. Short full. So I'm going to do this 6 more times for the cotton opacity and then for the tattered opacity. And that gives us our opacity maps with our different lengths. So once again, we're checking only the modifieds. I'm checking all those simulation settings that crept into there. This is good. This time I'm going to select this and we're just going to Use that cotton opacity map there. Should be good. Let's save that. File. Material preset. Short cotton. Check only, all modified. Uncheck. Simulation settings, head OK. Okay, we're going to bring these back. And then we're just going to make sure that we're using the... Was I using the mid? Did I forget that? No, I was using the mid displacement map. So I want the mid displacement map there. File, material preset. This is the mid cotton. Mid. No, let's try cotton. And check only the modified settings and uncheck simulation settings and accept that. And then for this last one, it's easy because everything is at the 1. And we use the long displacement map, and I just save that. And that's going to be long cotton. I might flip this around. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just leave it like that. Cotton. Cotton with an N. How about cotton with an N? There we go. Check only. All modified. Uncheck. All simulation settings. Am I looking good, by the way? I am just changing the displacement and the cutout still. Okay, and then I just need to do this for the tattards. So we're going to swap out this cotton opacity for the... Well, tattered opacities have 3 different maps. So one for the long. And we'll save that. Long and tattered. Check only, modified, uncheck simulation. Save that. So I don't actually have to select these because I have, I can just swap the map out for the short one and it'll just automatically hide those bottom surfaces this time. Browse. So I want the mid tattered. And then we save that. And we click on mid and we type in tattered. And check only, all modified, and uncheck simulation and save that. Now we'll do the short. There's the short tattered. Save that. And then we're done with the opacity maps. All right, uncheck. Actually, check only, modified. Uncheck, selected, simulate. Okay, there we go. And okay, we've got our base, cotton and silk. Then we have our various opacities. Now we're going to set up the colors. Yay! Oh, and I'm gonna, you know what? I need to tweak. We need bases for worn cotton and worn silk, so let's do those. So I should be able to just do apply the base shader again. So if I just apply you, and then what I'm going to do is just, this one, I just need to adjust the roughness, I think. So we have a dirty, worn cotton roughness map right there. So I'm going to drop that right in there. It makes a slight difference to the sheen. It's so subtle, nobody will probably notice it. But I know it's there. So this will be cotton worn. I'm going to say worn cotton. Check only, modified, uncheck, all simulation. I think we're fine. And then let's do the base silk. And this one, we have a metallicity map for that. So I'm going to swap that out. I think it would come down here. There's a worn metallic map. So we'll put that in there. There's a worn roughness map. So that goes right there. Also, there's a top coat roughness in here somewhere. Top coat roughness right there. Should be good. And now I'll save that. Material preset. Silk. Worn silk. I want to render this just to see what it looks like. Check only while modified and uncheck the simulation settings and accept that. Let's just take a look here. So it should lose a little bit of the sheen. There we go. That's kind of what it does. It kind of breaks up the reflectivity and the glossiness, as if it's a bit dirtier in spots. So that's looking good. Close that. Now I need to just set up color maps for all those colors that we set up. And there's going to be a clean version and a worn version. So we just want to do that. And I want to plug it into the top coat color and the base color only. So I'm going to have to do some little bit of sleight of hand, because we use the top coat color with the silk. At least that's what I've been doing. It kind of works. So we'll put the default shader back on. Actually, you know what would be handy? I'm going to take D-Force off of this. That should save a little bit of effort, actually. I'll come to simulation settings. This way I don't have to keep uncheck the simulation settings. If I just make sure this doesn't have D-Force on it. Remove D-Force modifier. There we go. I think this will save me a little bit of time. So I put my base shader on, so we're going to change. So we're going to make that white. And I got to tweak. Where's my top coat color? So I'm going to put top coat weight to there. Well, I'm going to set it somewhere like in here. I need that just so I can get to this color, right? And I want to make sure that this, I'm going to say 0.5 so I remember what it is. We're going to make this the default so that when we say modified, this value doesn't get picked up. So I make that 0.5, and now it looks like it hasn't been changed. So when you change something over here, it gets highlighted. Otherwise, if it's at the default value, it's grayed out like this. So I'm gonna just check this, and I'm gonna make that default color a little bit different. So that's makes that actually a modified value. There we go. And now what I want to do is I want to put it in my maps here and here, and then save that. So we're going to start with black. Glossy silk black. So that goes there and there. And then I want to just save that. And we're just going to do color. I'll call it color. That way color does come in front of opacity. And you kind of want to do the base, the color, then the opacity options. Material preset, there we go. So SR color black, boom, booyah, check only, all modified only. And let me see, do I have a simulation? I do not have simulation settings. There we go. And you can see I've only got, oh, the top coat weight is still being checked, even though you are set to 0. So you know what, I'm gonna have, do I have to manually, does it get automatically checked just because I gave it a color? See, you're not checked, but you're checked. That's gonna make a, you know, it gets, I'm trying to think. Maybe I'm going to not compress this file. I'm going to try something. I'm going to see if I can do a find and replace and delete these out later on. Let's try that. Because right here, you're supposed to be not being checked, but you're getting checked. What about over here? Value and image. Which is fine here. And I do want this, I just don't want you to be checked, and I went out of my way to, let me cancel this, let me check this, let's try this once more. So am I just, yeah, they're all set to default. I wonder if can I just delete you? Let's take a look at our parameters and see if there's some sort of stupid trick I can do in here to make it think. Actually, nope. Default is 0.5, value is 0.5. I turn limits off. If I set you back to 0 and we make you 0, if I accept that, see, now I can't access that color. I have to kind of trick it to get that color to change. I don't know. Let me see. This might be the way to go. Material preset. So SB color black. I'm going to copy that. And let's not capitalize that O in color. Let's do that. All right, we're going to check only all modifieds, and let's see if it's doing the same thing. There we go. When I set it back to 0, it's fine. And we'll just double check over here. See, this way I can drive this value by the by one of the base shaders. I don't want the color to change that. So if it's a silk, I want that top coat weight to be 1. If it's cotton, I want it to be 0. I got to double check my cottons and make sure they actually are 0s though, so that they overwrite the silk if the silk sets it to 1. So that's going to be okay because it's got an image map in there. And white is color in front of base because you have a B in front of you. You're supposed to be an R. Okay, so I got one color done out of a few dozen. Let me. I'm gonna reset this in a second here, but let's do this. And my top coat weight goes to 1. And if I do that, my top coat weight stays at 1 because the cotton's not changing it. Okay, let's reset, and I'll try to save the cotton out so that it actually changes that to 0. I think it's because the default was 0 and I wasn't paying attention. So let's try once again. Apply default shader with no modifiers. Activate the cotton. We're going to come over here to top coat. Weight. I'm going to come into here. I'm going to change the default to 0.5 so that this is 0. I thought I had done that. And now when I save this, my other option is make it really small, 0.001. It's kind of what I'm thinking. It's like it's at 0, but not quite. But that's not what I want to do. Okay, I'm replacing the base cotton. I'm going to check only all modifieds. We're just going to go take a look at. See, my top coat's not getting saved, even though right there I have changed the weight to 0. Damn you! That's treating you. It's treating it as it's special. It's special. Let me try resaving. Well, here, let's try this. I'm going to try to resave this shader with this value altered. So scripts, I'm going to reapply that shader, right? And I only need this. So we're just going to apply it there. So what I'm looking at is this top coat weight. So if I come into here, and if we make you say 0.5 and make the default. No, actually. I'm going to cancel that because I'm screwing things up. So let's make the default 0.53. And set the value to 0.53. And then let me see if I can save this shader. I'm just going to save it up here at the top of the kimono for right now. Save a shader preset. default base. You know what? I don't know why I got simulation. We'll turn those off. I'm not saving those. And what do we got not being saved in geometry? You know what? I'm going to save sublevel. I'm not going to save UV maps. I have no idea what these got to do with anything. And I'm going to go with that. We'll go with that. We'll see how that works out. All right, let's try. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to my script menu. We'll make that create a custom action. All right, now I'm going to select you. Put default base on here, right? Now can I put my cotton on here? And change that top coat weight to 0 and then save that. And now will this get saved? I hope so. What am I doing? I'm right in here. I am material preset. I'm going to resave over that. Yeah, yes. All right. Check only all modifieds. And hey, there we go. Now we're cooking with propane. And am I saving any simulation settings? I am not. I think I'm good to go. All right, and let's fix the worn cotton. That was the worn silk. So, you know what? I'm going to reapply that default base. Put the worn cotton on. We're going to make that top coat weight 0. I'm going to save you out. Worn cotton. There we go. Should be good. Check only. All modified. Uncheck. You know what? The simulation settings crept back in here for some reason. Got saved out with my shader, I'm sure. I can clean that up again. All right, I'm about ready to. So let's do this. We're going to put this on one more time. Now I should be able to just rock and roll doing the colors. So you get to be white. You get to be, you are white, so you're gonna be good. I think because when I put a map in here, I think that'll force that. So what are we on now? We're on black worn, right? So we're back over here. So you go into that channel, and you go into that channel, and file, material preset, BC color worn black, or SR color. Check only, all modified. I still have simulation. I did. Yay, it's just that color and just the base color. Excellent. So that's all that does. It just changes these colors. And if you're not using the top coat weight, it will ignore that and you'll just get the color in the base channel. Now I'm just going to set all of these up. And then we're going to do the trims. How tedious. Sherrod. There we go. Going to put you there. Did you get dropped in there? You did. And put you over here. And then we just pop over here and save that. And I'm going to copy part of this. We'll copy this into the clipboard. And you're going to be Garade. Check only, all modifiers. I'm just going to do another quick spot check. Looking good. Okay, Sharadi worn. Okay, what do we got next? Elm. Elm is the next color up. And worn elm. Boy, that is a terrible way to spell worn. All right, eternity, which is kind of a brown color or a warm gray. It's a dark brown actually. Eternity. There we go. I want to do a test render to see what this how this worn looks. Actually, this isn't the right. This isn't the right way to do it. Bum, bum, bum. Born eternity. Modified only. Accept. Moving right along. Now we got our patterns. Pattern 1. Pattern 1. I'm going to copy that part of this. Pattern 2. Dun, 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 dun. Pattern 3. Pattern 4. Oops, I should have accepted that. Pattern 5. 6. Then we got the worn versions of those. So worn pattern 1. So I'm going to do this, but we're going to add worn in here. And I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to say 1. That way I can just cut and paste, or paste those in from now on. There's worn pattern 2. Oops, that's at 4. Let's try that again. Uh, 3. 4. Oh, what's going on? Did I not accept? Which one's that? That's 4. Got 5. Uh, 6. And I got rosewood. There's a white back in there somewhere. I don't know what else do we have. And we have sorrel. So we're getting there. And then comes the really tweaky part, doing the trims. Actually, I have a really clever idea for the trims. I can make a special object that only has the materials for the trims, and then we can just save that. So that would be easy as paste, save, paste, save, paste, save. Otherwise, I have to go, when I save a material, I have to check each of the trim boxes. But I just got clever. You are 6. I think you were 6. Right? Worn 5 was the last one. Patter. Somebody misspelled pattern. Damn it. Damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor, not a spell checker. Okay, we're getting, I think I got, right, rosewood. So I can go back to just saying color. Rosewood worn. Or worn rosewood. What's next? Sorrel. Looks like worn Sorrel Brown. I'm not sure how I misspelled that so that the Warren's coming in first, but oops, you don't get out of the way. I think Sorrel Brown had 2 R's and 2 L's. Two R's and 2 L's, that's the way I am spelling it. Hopefully I copied and pasted that right when I was naming these. I'm just going to do a quick spot check to make sure it's doing what I think it's doing. Yeah, it's doing what I think it's doing. Okay. And that leaves white. And then Warren white. All right, so that's the base. Now I'm going to set up a special color trim color. I might put numbers in front of these. You know, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert you into an object. Then we're going to go into the editor here and I'm going to narrow down my trim colors. And we could either just delete everything else or we could just delete out those surfaces. I might just delete all the mesh just to be weird. So actually, so let's do a couple of weird things here. Let's select this. Let's come into the scene. Let's come over to here. And we'll do edit rigging and convert figure to prop. So this is now a prop object. Now we'll come over here to the geometry editor and come into tool settings, and I don't need face groups. We're going to be looking at surfaces here. So I think, pretty sure if we select Robe 1, Robe 2, oh, I have to do different trims for each, no, maybe not. Or maybe. Maybe not. I'm thinking. Because if it's short, you kind of want to have to be able to do the trim there, right? And if it's not, you kind of want to Nope, I don't want trim sleeves. I want sleeves. And I don't really need that to be a separate zone, so that's maybe I'll just go ahead and leave it like that. So if we select all of this and delete it, I think I will just remove these ones here. So I think you're like trim edge. Nope. So I want to keep the trim edges, robe trim. That one's on the bottom, so maybe we'll get rid of that one. And that one. And that one. And maybe we'll do that. I'll try this. And then maybe I'll make separate, or maybe we won't worry about the different lengths having trims. I don't know. Or I might just make two more full sets. So anyhow, I'm gonna just we're gonna break this. Geometry, editing, delete selected polygons. And we're just going to use that. Oh, I lost I had trim on these edges here, didn't I? I do need to get rid of, I need to change this to something else, don't I? Yeah, I'm gonna end up renaming this something else. And there's these other trim parts I'm gonna rename, I think. So those are those. That's the sleeves. I don't need the robe attachments. You know what? I think I'll get rid of that. And I don't need the strap end attachments either, do I? So you know what? I could probably get rid of those too. Robe belt attachment. I thought I got delete selected polygons. I think that's good. Ends, not straps. Yeah, I have this. So I have these trims that run along, these really thin ones. I think I'm going to lose those. I think is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to end up redoing my geometry so that these surfaces are just part of this surface here instead of being called a trim. And then I think I can adjust these to just save trim settings. So this is good. So now I should be able to do, and I think I still have those generic. So if I do that and then do this and SR trim color black, check only, all modified. So is this still just saving the colors? Still just saving the colors. All right. So we're gonna go through and set up these. And I can just do that by, since we have these done, I can just kind of do that. And then do this. This is charade. So what I should do is SR trim color. I'm going to copy that onto the clipboard. Charade. And I got an extra character in there. And I can just do that and this. And that's Elm. And now this should kind of click along at a decent pace. That's Eternity. Okay, let's move you a little bit like that. Pull you over here. Pattern 1. These ones I can do a little bit different because I can kind of just reuse pattern. And this time I'm going to remember to put an N in the end of that. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to do a find and replace later on and replace pattern with patterned. What am I on? Control V, pattern. I must be on pattern 4. What's that? I did not save pattern 4. Yeah, that looks like pattern 4 there. Rosewood. All right, I don't need to say pattern anymore. I meant to copy instead I pasted. Control C. There we go. Floral brown. And white. Okay, we're on the warns now. There we go. So let's copy that. And this is black. Did that change? Difference between those is so subtle I'm not even noticing it. It's because it's the dirty textures. So anyhow, I think that's the charade. Yeah, T. Okay, now I'm on the patterns here. So it does make sense to kind of get in here and say pattern O and copy that. My brain stopped. Where am I at? I gotta take a look at surfaces in here. Oh, what are you? I'm on Warren 3. Okay. Right, I think we're good. Getting there. I'm going to stop playing around with these for a little bit and we'll actually use them. And so what I am going to do, so something similar to this, I'm going to set up for the mids and the shorts. And I think for organizational purposes, I'll probably in materials have the bases and the colors. Then I think I will have an opacity subfolder, trim long, trim mid, and trim short subfolders just to help organize this stuff a little bit better. And actually, what I might do is actually options long, options short, options mid, and I'll take the opacity options for the different sizes and stick them in there along with the trims. That's probably the, because what you want to do is apply your base color, then do the other options for whatever length you're working with. I don't know if that'll make sense. It barely makes sense to me. So what was I doing? Was I done? No, I finished. I got 2 more to go still. I think I did rosewood though. I did not do rosewood. So apparently I'm doing sorrel and we're going back and doing rosewood. Brown. Okay, so we're going to reapply rosewood and then save it this time. last one. At least for this set. Hit the button, Chris. Paste. White. Check only all modifieds. Okay, I'm going to change the materials on both of the kimonos now. I'm going to save this. File, save as, scene. We're just going to call you Whippy. Or do I have a whip in here already? If I do, I could probably just overwrite it. Because I don't even remember what it is. Okay, and then I don't really need it. I'm going to leave this floating in here for now. Okay, let's redo the surfaces on both of the robes. So let's do Genesis 9 and get that out of the way. And we'll run over here. And I'm going to drop that on there. And then I'm going to hide everything but these bottom trims that I'm going to rework the assignments to. So let's pop into that editor, go over to tools, surfaces. I've got the wrong thing selected, don't I? There we go. So we're definitely going to not want to see you guys. I don't need to see the robe attachment, the belt attachment, or the strap end attachment. I don't even actually see the sleeves, the strap ends. Strap knots. So I'm either going to change the names of these. I think I'm going to change. I think I'll just change the names. So it's these little stripes right in here I want to rename. I think these are fine. Because I don't, right now they have the same name as this, and I want to separate them out from that. Geez, I've been sitting here pretty much all day going through photos I've taken over the years. Between scanned negatives, remember film? I remember film. Scanned from prints, and of course digital. And professional photo geeks, events, models, etc., etc. I must have somewhere around 1 million or more photos. Dude, and you're still shooting with an itchy trigger finger. With both your normal camera and the flying ones. Man's got to have his hobbies. Let's try that. And you know what? I don't need to see that. And I don't need to see that. And you know what? I don't need to see these. And I'm going to hide that one for right now. And then what do we got here? This is for... I'm not going to change the name of that. Maybe 4B. Or trim side 04. Let's call it trim side. So here, let me grab some of that like that. And we'll create a surface from selected. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I think I'm just going to take this and assign it to this. I think that's what we're going to do. So that gets assigned to, I'm just going to make that part of row 4. Like that. Never mind all the renders. Yeah, always all the renders. Assign that, hide that. Did I not assign you? There we go. And I can just take that I could just take this. Okay, and then we're going to do kind of the same thing. Actually, I'm going to bring you back. We'll just grab those, assign it to that. Grab those, assign it to that. There we go. Click on that and that. I can't even see what I'm selecting. Okay, moving along. Then I'm just going to do you. And we'll get you guys. Sign you over to Robe 2. And there's Robe 2, looking good. Robe 3 and Robe 4. All right. All right, let's get everything else back in here. Then I need to do this with the Genesis 8 version. All right, let's Sunrise Robe G9. I am totally in the wrong folder here, aren't I? Projects, dresses. Kimono, people, Genesis 9, da-da, 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 and over that, hit save, hit, yeah, I think this is all good. This I can't do anything with because we have the smart content off. Hey, Chris, Sarah says she could really use a robe you're making. She's really cold. Would Sarah actually use the long version? No, but at least her arms would be comfortable. I think I'm good here. I'm going to get rid of that. Let's load the 8 in. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to assign those parts of that trim material to the main robe material because it's just going to work out better for my material files, I think. And that's probably a render you can't share too, right? Okay, is good. Let's come over here. Let's see if I can do this. I got 7 minutes before 9. And I want to apply some materials to this too. But this always goes second. I've already done the thinking, right? So this should go really fast. You could share it, but I wouldn't be able to put it in. That's right. Geometry editor, tool settings. I'm just gonna go through here like a mad fiend. I wish there was a quick way I could shut all these off at the same. Can I do multiples at once? No. So rope trim 4, there we go. Too bad this handle isn't bigger. It would be a lot easier to work with. All right, that one's good. Moving along to this one. You sent it in it. Give it a look. I'll look at it when I'm safely off stream. All right, that's going over to 3. And thank you for sharing, Charles. Sharing is caring. I heard that in a fortune cookie somewhere. Okay, that's probably good. All right, that's good. Where's trim 2? There we go. So we're just going to kind of do the same thing. Hide that. Select some of these. Come over here. Select some of those. Lean into the expand selection. Sign and hide. And I think I'm good there. So that matches what we did with the other one. So let's unhide everything. All right, let's save you. Let's not save over that one. Let's save over that one. Should be fine. And let's give a whirl with some of those material files we just created. So my general idea is mostly the patterns for the base, and then we can use the others for the trims. I kind of have sort of a theme for some of this stuff. So here, let's come over to this tool, select the robe. Let's apply base silk. And let's do like pattern 3. And I think pattern 3 is kind of designed to work with, was it Eternity? I don't think it was Eternity. I think pattern 3 is kind of designed to work with Charade. But let's go use the Charade trim. Look at that. That's what I wanted. Now let's see how this renders. There we go. And now what I need is I need some material files to add the trim for here. You know what? It just, all it has to do is just do that. Actually, do all the trim but the last. Yeah, it just needs. I'm kind of thinking. I'm still not quite sure how I want to set up the trims. So we can make it short cotton, but that didn't change the base, so that still has it. So I'm going to do a base cotton. Here, let's do a pattern, and that works with elm. No, that works with the elm trim, right? So I'll do a short cotton, and we'll put the elm trim on. See, I would like it to be able to change that when it's short. Anyhow, let's see how this is looking. There you go. There's a little bit of opacity to it. You can see that going on here. Yes. So I need a. Yeah, I'm just gonna make separate files that'll just apply the trim differently for the short and the mid version. Anyhow, I'm pretty happy with how this is coming along. I want to clean up the rigging a little bit. Not that I really needs it because we're going to use D-Force, of course, because we're that kind of lazy. Here, let's just run a D-Force just to see. And then we'll call it a day. So let's see who's on. I got to stiffen up that belt. It's drooping too much. Let's see who's on and call it a night. Looking for the rate targets, and that is I'm gonna do that. Come over to here. I'm gonna do that. Hey, I can hear myself, and I don't want to. No. Liverick. Liverick is on. Dang. Okay. Oh no, Liverick's lurking. Liverick, good to see you. I hope things are going well for you. Let's do a render of this and call it a night. I gotta tweak the D4 settings on the belt because it's just drooping too much. All music considered is on. I'm gonna see if any of the art friends, Zyra Stan, maybe we'll just go pop over real quick and get into Zyra Stan's chat and say hi. Do our obligatory raid her before she raids out. And then maybe Iruma can or Bad Tooth Records on Thursday. I think. Yep, we're gonna do that. Nekus art. Okay, we'll do Nekus art. Copy. Damn you. Nekus art is doing Cozy Spooky Forest Gathering. Yeah, we rated her before. All right, we'll do that. You're probably already over there, Charles. That's fine. That's coming along nicely. I think this is going to work. And I've got a trick where you can untie the belt because we're sneaky that way. And then we can undo this. So I have invisible attachments. I have an invisible attachment right in here. There's invisible attachments, I think, holding the belt on. And there's invisible attachments holding the knot together. And that's just drooping too much. So we're going to tweak the D4 setting for that. Anyhow, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. We're going to go and say hi to Nekus Art. Hey, if there's anybody over on the YouTube, thank you. Like and subscribe. We had the part 9 of the series of making the swimsuit from previous streams. So all the stream videos are on. I think I'm going to try to make a part 10. I'm not sure when I'm going to do that. Part 10 will just basically go over how to actually submit a product to Renderosity, RenderHub, or Daz. So the videos on YouTube, making a swimsuit parts 1 through 9, basically is just live streams where the complete process of making this item for Daz is shown. And then, so that last part 9 came out today. I'm probably want to do a part 10. I'm not sure when I'm going to get that done though. It's basically, I'm just going to take a kind of discuss over the steps of submitting. So the final step before it's out of your hands and in a marketplace's hands. Anyhow, but let's go over and say hi to Nekus Art. Let's do that. So anyhow, we have the raid calls. If you're not a subscriber, feel free to use that raid call. If you are a subscriber, for those of you on Twitch who are actually here, here's the sub raid call. There we go. There's the link. Buy my stuff at Daz. Hey, and don't forget our good friend 3D Loki. Always can use your support. And also check out our good friend DZ, Dzang, selling at Daz and Renderosity. Awesome, awesome artist. Did I hear the I didn't hear the whoop owl. Oh, there it is. 3D Loki doesn't get the whoop owl. Loki does. All right. And feel free to join the Discord if you haven't already. There we go. So let's do this and go over and say hi to looks like she's drawing some really cool stuff. Anyhow, let's do this. /raid. Are you still on the clipboard? You are. Excellent. Anyhow, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I'm only a big child. Welcome. I have just started a raid. Thank you for being here. Here, I'm going to cancel the raid for just a minute. For just a minute. And I've been working on this kimono. We've been texturing it today. I was working on getting the textures on it. Do I still have my render? So this eventually will be a DAS product. So that's what I was doing today. But you're just in time to catch out the raid. Thank you for shouting out, I am only a big child. Everybody check out my good friend, I'm only a big child. Super cool human being who has been gaming. So follow and stop in and say hi if you can. That would be awesome. Anyhow, we are getting ready to raid, so I'm going to just start this raid again. Feel free to join us when we go over and say hi to Neka's art. She is doing wonderful art. So here, /raid, Control V. I appreciate it. There's a dyslexic heart, by the way, for the raid. And here we go. I've now got 7 viewers. Look at that. Let's switch over to here. Let me go get my raid call. Raid calls are up above. I'll just redo those real quick. If you're not a sub, use that. If you are a sub, use this one. Thank you all for being here. I was just saying hasta la vista baby when you popped in. So anyhow, hasta la vista baby. I'm copying my raid call. Where's my raid call? Oh, that's my raid call. There it is. Copy, copy, copy. Why am I not able to frickin' Twitch? Anyhow, hasta la vista baby. There. Let's do this.